Right, okay, so only a couple more things to talk about, I think. So we're going to just quickly smash through all the different timer types. So good old tooltips will tell us that there's basically currently 7 different timer types available to you, which is a step up from the old TTRAK, which basically I think had 2 sort of variations on SID. So I'm going to talk you through these really quickly. A lot of them are actually kind of SID-y, based on the same principles. There's a few other interesting ones in there. So, okay, without further ado, so timer type 1, we've touched on that before. It's basically just a classic SID. So with a timer engaged there and timer value 1, that's timer type 1. Again, a bit of tooltip graphical corruption there. Apologies. Okay, cool. I'm just going to come out of there because that's going to trigger my OCD. All right, so that's timer type 1, which is just straight up SID. Timer type 2 is a 2-stage user waveform. Okay, so this one is just like a SID, only it actually uses this waveform editor down here to define its waveform. So you've got 2 steps, as you can see from this little graphic here. So if I just do that, essentially it's just like a SID. If I want to soften the SID a little bit, I could bring this up a little bit. So that's really nice to, you don't want a really in-your-face SID. So that's that one, 2-stage user waveform. Timer type 3, 16-stage user waveform. No points for guessing what this one is. It's just like the 2-step, but you've got the whole 16 steps. Now, what this essentially allows you to do is all sorts of custom waveforms, like sort of sine waveforms. But what you've got to remember is that actually the whole cycle, if you choose to take 16 steps for a complete cycle of a waveform, the core frequency of that waveform is actually going to be a lot lower than if you were just making a waveform out of two steps. So what I'm saying is, if you try and sort of draw a 16-step sine wave, for example, to hear that, you're going to have to really go up a few octaves. And obviously, the higher octaves you play, the more CPU cost. So if you want a 16-step sine wave, it's going to cost you. To check out what you can do with a 16-stage user waveform, probably best thing to do in the first instance is to mute the square, so you're only hearing the timer waveform. So nothing particularly exciting there. You've got a lot of options, sort of sine-y. Okay, so if you're using a 16-stage user waveform, it's going to use 16 stages, but you can always do something like this. And do a 4-stage user waveform 4 times. It's not going to cost you any more, and it means that you won't have to play it so many octaves up. Not that that's going to be a... So that's 16 stage user waveform. I'm going to Control X to kill that. So what's next? Timer 4, which is Morphing Wavetable. Okay, so the idea of this one is you actually have two 16 stage user waveforms and you can morph between them. So the way this works, so I set a timer there. I'm going to mute the square wave as well so you can hear what's going on. And because it's 16 step user waveforms, you're going to have to play these up. If you use all 16 steps, you're going to have to play them up the octave a little bit. So I'm just going to turn off tooltip, man. Okay, so to sort of unlock the power of the morph, you go into this morph tab here. Yeah, so again, you can just press tab to go across, all right? So this is the morph thing here, right? What this modulation wave actually does is, right at the bottom here is a 16 stage user waveform A, and at the top here is 16 stage user waveform B. And as you play through that modulation, it will morph from A to B using that waveform that you've dialed in, right? So let me just show you. So if I just do a straight line, okay, not particularly exciting, but if I click on edit waves here, you can see here's the two waves that it's morphing between. So the first wave is a sine sort of wave, and the second wave is a triangle wave. Okay, so if I go back to the morphing, you can hear it starting with this sine wave and then it modulates across here, right? So you've got the same kind of tools at your disposal that you have with the Freak mod wave. You can sort of pull this into shape quite nicely. So the first thing we should probably do is just speed it up a little bit. So that's in its very, very straightest form, not saying much. But where the real, you got to remember that where things can get interesting is you can start to apply, for example, frequency modulation envelopes. Things start to get a lot more interesting. The world's your oyster. Okay, so lots to sort of discover there. So just to sort of reiterate that, you've got two different types of 16 stage waveform, and this is a modulation waveform that at the very bottom is waveform A, 16 stage waveform A, and at the very top is 16 stage waveform B. All right, so you can get some nuts stuff going on here. Okay, so that's Morphing Wavetable. So Control X, kill that.